Gambling, one of the worst addictions a person can experience. You either win or lose it all. For centuries, people have been gambling in many ways to win money, dating back to the Paleolithic period when people gambled by trading items like bones. Since then, a lot of different types of gambling have appeared, which can be poker, slot machines, bingo, and loot boxes. Loot boxes have since the 2010s become very popular, appearing in many mobile apps and platforms, including Roblox. By spending in-game credits or Robux, you'll get rewarded with an item that can either be used as a weapon or be a cosmetic option for your avatar. On one hand, we have people that like the concept of loot boxes because they can give players free items when picking a box. But on the other hand, there are a lot of people who do not like the concept of loot boxes when you have to pay money to get a digital item, which they say has become a problem on Roblox. They describe it as gambling for children.
And get ready to take notes because kids playing Roblox have been gambling millions.
This is a kids game.
Loot boxes have become a major controversy in the gaming sphere, earning.
So yesterday, one of the most popular games on Roblox, Adopt Me, was gonna be banned in the Netherlands and Belgium.
Loot boxes can be described as a mystery bundle. It is a collective name for different types of packs, chests, or boxes, containing a selection of random items that can help a player in the game. I'll give you an example. Let's say that Little John has advanced to level 10 in a game about collecting Bloxy Cola cans. John suddenly enters a boss battle which Builderman is the boss Little John has to destroy. But he doesn't even have a weapon good enough to defeat Builderman. So he uses 500 of his Bloxy coins to open up a chest that contains a random weapon. It can either be a rare weapon or a common one. But let's say that John got a really bad sword, like a baguette sword. This upsets him since he wanted the legendary sword, the Bloxy Destroyer 3000. So, he wants to use another 500 to open a new chest. But he realized that he only has 200 coins left. So, to get more coins without grinding, he instead buys 300 coins by spending Robux, a currency that can be purchased by money. This time, he gets the Bloxy Destroyer 3000 that is good enough to defeat Builderman. He destroys it and reaches the end of the game. When we take a look at a typical loot box, there are a variety of categories which range from common and uncommon to rare and legendary. In some games like Murder Mystery 2, you also have an option to pay more to get a higher chance of getting a better item. This is exactly what gambling is. But how are loot boxes gambling and how do we know it? Well, there are 3 keys to remember that makes a loot box a gambling method. First off, chance-based rewards. In traditional gambling, players who spend money in a game have no control over the results. Once the player pays for a box, that box will randomly give the player a reward that can either be a common or a rare item. Secondly, monetary transactions. Many loot boxes we know today on Roblox require players to either pay for in-game money or Robux. To get more in-game money, it can be purchased with Robux. And to get Robux, a player must purchase it with their own money. The rewards are often of varying items, which can either be a good one or a bad one. And thirdly, psychological mechanics. This key is the most dangerous one when it comes to gambling. When a player pays for a loot box, the brain triggers dopamine that makes a person think that they have earned something. However, too much gambling can lead to 3 things: bankruptcy, depression with overstimulation, or even worse, your own life. These cases shows that loot boxes are a way of gambling. A box gives the player a random item, it requires some money, and it can affect a person psychologically. We can see similarities with loot boxes and slot machines. When paying money for a loot box, you'll get a better chance of winning a better item. While for slot machines, you pay more to get a better chance of winning more money. The only difference between these two gambling methods is that you always win something with loot boxes, while you can lose everything with slot machines. But otherwise, loot boxes and slot machines are basically the same thing. So now we know why loot boxes fit into the gambling category. I then have a question about this. Why do they exist and how did they even appear on Roblox? To understand this, we are going back 150 years in time.
The 19th century, the era of the Industrial Revolution. We got urbanization, the American dream, steam trains, and cards.
This is the cigarette company Allen & Ginter, founded by John F. Allen and Louis Ginter. One day in 1875, they got a bright idea. Why not give the people an item to collect when buying cigarette packs? So they produced what soon will be the first loot box, also known as cigarette cards. These cards that included images could be actresses, baseball players, Native American chiefs, boxers, national flags, or wild animals. People who bought cigarette packs had no idea what card they would get. If they bought a cigarette pack and got a card they already had, they will buy another and another one until they got their favorite cigarette card. The goal of those cards: collect them all.
No, nothing like that at all. I'm just interested in the cards.
Okay.
The cigarette cards. Oh, you got any?
Yeah?
Well, get them out. Let me take a look. Come on.
A little picture card?
Yeah, I'll pay you a good price.
Okay. Here.
Nothing I haven't got. The value is in completing the set. Sometimes I'll smoke up to 200 cigarettes in one day, just so I can keep opening the packs. I wish I could explain to you the pleasure and the pain I get out of collecting these babies.
Sure. It sounds,
Thrilling? Yeah, it is. Not to mention...
This was a huge success for Allen & Ginter, and soon that idea will lead other companies to soon follow. In 1887, the British tobacco company W.D.&H.O. Wills became one of the first companies to include advertising cards with their cigarettes. 22 years later, in 1909, the American Tobacco Company produced what will soon be, many decades later, the most valuable cigarette card ever. This is the T206 Honus Wagner, a card that today is worth $8.4 million. This card shows the baseball player Honus Wagner, also known as the Flying Dutchman, who is widely considered to be one of the best players of all time. He won 8 National League batting titles, 5 stolen base titles, and also is one of the first 5 players inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936. While cigarette cards were bought by adults, children will also soon be interested in those cards. That's where the bubblegum company Goody Gum Company produced in 1933 the first collectible cards for children. These were baseball cards that came together with bubble gums. Kids could finally be as cool as their parents. By having baseball cards of their favorite players like Napoleon LaJoie, Mickey Cochrane, they could now be the most popular kids in school. Same as cigarette cards, this was a successful goodie. Many children began flocking to the stores to buy bubblegums, hoping that they got their favorite baseball players on their cards. While cigarette cards faded away in the 1940s, the baseball cards continued to be more popular, and soon other types of loot boxes started to pop up in stores. I'm talking about T-cards in the 50s, gachapon machines in 1965, cereal box cards in the 70s, TV movie cards in 1977, and then Pokemon cards in the late September of 1996. Suddenly, in the 2000s, a new type of loot box popped up in a video game. It's 2003, around 3 years before Roblox will be released for the rest of the world to play. At that time, Google had just become the world's leading search engine, where it rapidly outplaced competitors like Yahoo and MSN in search engine market share, and phones at that time looked like this. This was also a time before YouTube, Facebook and Twitter existed. Life was more different compared to now. On April 23, 2003, the South Korean gaming company Yuzzy released a brand new game called MapleStory. This game is a 2D MMORPG set in a colorful world of cute monsters, charming music and a lot of communities. Players could explore fantasy towns, fight mushrooms and level up with friends. The story is about the Black Mage, once a brilliant scholar, later corrupted by forbidden knowledge. To defeat him, 6 legendary heroes united: a dragon master, an elf queen, a mighty warrior, a conflicted light mage, a cunning thief, and a young dragon rider. Their quest was to seal away the Black Mage before he destroyed reality itself. But MapleStory's world never stayed at peace for long. New threats, secret organizations, wars, and even godlike beings emerged. Over time, the player's role shifted from a simple adventurer to the central figure, which the player is often the last hope to save the world. What makes MapleStory special is that this one also introduced a feature in the Japanese version in June 2004 that soon will change gaming forever. And that was loot boxes, also known as a gachapon machine. Based on a real gachapon, a person can spend gachapon tickets to get a random item from the vending machine. To get gachapon tickets, the person has to spend 100 Japanese yen to get them. The gachapon can give players scrolls, shares, and other equipment to help players on their journey. Soon, just 4 years later, a game in China took the loot box idea and pushed it to the extreme. It was called ZT Online, a free-to-play MMORPG that offered players a big fantasy world to explore, but it also involved cash. This is Lu Yang, a 27-year-old sonogram technician at a hospital in Chengdu. She is one of many players who played ZT Online. At the time, it was China's hottest online game. She was interviewed by the media site Danwei, a website that was later acquired by the Financial Times in 2013. She explained how hooked she was into the game, especially when it was about loot boxes. One evening, she could open up to 1,000 chests in a game. Even though everything is virtual, Lu once believed that she could find a golden road to glory and dreams. But it later turned out for her that it wasn't that glory at all. Eventually, she realized she was just a mule, endlessly grinding and spending many hours in the game. She later decided to quit for good. She is not the first one who has become obsessed with loot boxes. In fact, millions of players are just like her, spending thousands of dollars on those boxes. According to a Journal of Economic Behavior and Organization, in 2020, loot boxes generated a total of $15 billion of revenue. They also predicted that this year, over 230 million gamers will spend money on loot boxes. After the success of ZT Online, EA will swoop in and introduce another type of loot box in the form of cards in FIFA 09. Like Pokemon cards, when spending credits, a person can get a football player, from Messi and Ronaldo to Steven Gerrard and Ronaldinho. While EA was the first AAA gaming company to introduce the loot box system, there is actually another game by a major company that will be released just 2 years later. This game will be the inspiration for the first Roblox games with loot boxes. Every day, a new game appears on Roblox. It can either be a fun simulator about a cow on a farm, or a space adventure game that takes place in the Andromeda galaxy. Today, the platform has become so big that you can just type anything and a game about that topic pops up. But if we go back to 2011, there were over 5.4 million Roblox games. Some of the most popular games at that time were Natural Disaster Survival, Ultimate Driving, Super Simon Says, and Work at a Pizza Place. Of all those games that are available to play in Roblox, one game will introduce a feature that will soon change Roblox forever. On February 25th, 2011, a video called Roblox Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies was uploaded on YouTube by Pokejamal. The video showcased the game Kino del Toten and is based on a map that has the same name in Call of Duty Black Ops. The map is an abandoned theater that has been turned into Group 335's Kino facility. Once served as a testing ground for their secret experiments with Element 115 and also zombies, which explains the name of the map. If we translate the name to English, it simply says Theater of the Dead. When playing the map in Black Ops, players have to survive endless waves of zombies. The more waves there are, the more difficult it gets for players to kill all the zombies. Same on Roblox, players also have to survive those zombie waves in the game. Kino del Toten is also a fan favorite, which can explain why there is a game on Roblox based on the map. If we take a look at 3 minutes and 23 seconds into the YouTube video, we can spot a chest. What makes this part in the video special is that this video is one of the earliest signs of a Roblox game having a loot box system. Once you open the chest, it gives you a random weapon when paying 950 cash. It could be anything from a simple handgun to a ray gun. The chest that can be spotted in the game is called a mystery chest, a feature that has existed since Call of Duty World War, released on November 11th, 2008. At some point, the chest system in the Black Ops game on Roblox gained popularity, so much that Roblox developers started adding the chest to their Black Ops style games. However, compared to today's loot boxes, this game didn't actually require Robux to buy the box. Instead, players had to grind their way to get the chance of getting the ray gun, which is the best gun in the game. While the Black Ops trend spread around Roblox, the trend of loot boxes didn't really take off on the platform until December 25th, 2014, when the game Murder Mystery released their new huge update. The new update changed the game's name to Murder Mystery 2. It also showcased a brand new UI and also loot boxes in the form of mystery chests. When it came out, there were 2 different chests, a gun and a knife chest that cost $5 each. Before the update, players could choose a knife or a gun individually and then buy one. When purchasing a box in the new update, a random knife or a gun will show up. It's all randomly generated. This changed in the beginning of January of 2015. The currency changed from dollars to coins. The boxes now looked more like crates. The price for a box changed from 5 to the minimum of 75 coins, and there were now 2 new boxes. A second knife box and also an MLG box. The MLG box, that is the most expensive one, costing 125 coins, contained 10 different knives, like Chips, Snoop, Doritos, and the rarest one, the MLG. To get those boxes, players have to collect coins during rounds when they are chasing or being chased by a murderer. They could first only collect up to 5 coins, until it was changed to 40 for normal players and 50 for elite players. And then it happened. Loot boxes suddenly became a huge new trend in games, especially in simulators and FPS games. First it was Phantom Forces in August of 2016, then Twisted Murderer. There basically were no stop for the trend. By 2016, a lot of games on the popular page had all added some sort of a loot box system. Some of them are Mad Murderer, Meep City, and Counterblocks. And most of the players were happy with the loot boxes. Players could now pay to get a chance of getting their favorite items in-game, like a weapon or a hat. Soon, YouTubers will also make videos when they open up loot boxes.
Come on, Fusion. Let's go, Fusion. Oh, we passed 2 of them.
It's a big kill. Or is it a fallout? It's a fallout, guys.
To unbox a godly of some sorts, but all I'm getting is nothing. Nothing at all.
However, while the loot box trend was at its peak, the support for them will be about to change. It all began with EA.
Hi players, this is John Boyega, and this is Star Wars Battlefront 2.
They were about to release their new hyped game, Star Wars Battlefront 2. The first game had been praised for its exceptional visuals and immersive atmosphere, and a sequel was expected to be even bigger with more features than its predecessor. But just before launch, reports revealed that EA was going to add loot boxes, also known as star crates in the game. A crate contains star cards, which could be used to boost your abilities. While players were skeptical about the game's loot box system before launch, Battlefront 2 managed to sell over 1.33 million copies on console and PC a week after its launch. Then, the reviews came. Instead of celebrating one of the most anticipated releases of the year, critics blasted the game's loot box system, calling it out as pay to win. The outrage grew so intense that EA removed microtransactions entirely just days after launch. Months later, in April 2018, they returned only for cosmetics, removing the pay-to-win mechanics in the game. But by then, the damage was already done.
This game is a Star Wars themed online casino designed to lure kids into spending money. It's a trap.
Battlefront 2 didn't just fail. The game turned loot boxes into a controversy. The media and players were questioning if this mechanic should belong in the games at all, especially if it is aimed at children. And on Roblox, where the majority of players were kids, the problem became even more alarming. The media began covering stories of children spending thousands of dollars on Roblox microtransactions. One of them is an 11-year-old girl who spent $6,000 using her dad's debit card. And another one is a 7-year-old boy who drained his mother's bank account on Roblox microtransactions. These are some of the many articles that spread around the internet. And with the rise of loot boxes on the platform, who's gonna stop the kids from spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a shiny box in a Roblox game? Not only are there kids spending that much money, but also teenagers and adults. One of them is Icy.
A long time ago, like 2016 or something like that, I was obsessed with a game named Survivor. It's basically Outlaster, but before. And they have loot boxes of skins of the Torch. And I spent a lot of money on that. I remember that. I see buying loot boxes as fun and also taking a risk because obviously you have a risk of losing all your money, but it's also fun because whenever I'm bored, I would want to do something, and buying loot boxes are kind of exciting and it kind of clears my boredom. When I'm addicted to loot boxes, I would spend an unreasonable amount of money, and after that, I would regret it so much. Like, especially if I don't get the things I want, but I still spend a lot of money, I would regret it so much.
So why are so many people willing to spend hundreds of dollars on loot boxes? According to a study by MDPI, it's not just about the items, it's about the psychology. Since loot boxes are designed using the same purpose as slot machines, you never know when you'll hit the jackpot. And that mystery keeps you coming back to pay for another box until you get satisfied. For some players, it's about progression, unlocking rare items or skipping the grind to level up faster in a game. Others feel pressure from other friends when they show their cool rare skins, items you don't want to miss out. Some have even been pressured by other people as a part of cyberbullying. And then there's the fear of missing out. Limited time events and exclusive offers make it feel urgent, like you'll never get another chance. For some, opening loot boxes is an escape from reality, a way to beat boredom, cope with stress, or just forget about the outside world for a while. Researchers call these motivations enhancement, progression, social pressure, fear of missing out, distraction, and compulsion. In one large UK study by Joanne Lloyd in the Journal of Clinical Medicine, distraction and compulsion were the strongest predictors of risky loot box spending. All of this combines into a powerful loop, one that keeps players spending, often more than they planned. So why are people disliking loot boxes that much when it was first liked by the community? Well, it's not the feature they are angry about, it's how developers handle the loot boxes in the games. Since loot boxes generate a lot of money, some developers have turned the games into a pay-to-win type of game by abusing the loot box system. One developer who sees loot boxes as a danger to kids is Kino, a Roblox developer from Finland who's been on Roblox since 2015.
I see loot boxes as danger to kids, not just for the kids but also their parents, because most of the kids who see YouTubers buying tons of those loot boxes and getting rare items, they want to do the same thing, and when they do, most of the time they spend their parents' money without their permission.
One of the games that has been called out for its unfair loot box system is Adopt Me, a game where you raise a kid and own pets. Players slammed it as gambling aimed at children, and since the majority of the players are children, many of them don't understand the value of Robux. By spending a lot of money on Robux, the parents' bank accounts quickly get emptied. Another game that has been heavily criticized for its loot box system is Pet Simulator X. The majority of all complaints that the game got are focused on its unfair loot box system and people scamming children. One example is that during Easter, there were limited time eggs that cost $30 for 3 simple eggs that give you a random pet. Adopt Me and Pet Simulator X are just one example of how Roblox games leaned on loot boxes to drive revenue. But while developers raked in profits, researchers began asking a bigger question. What effect does this have on the kids actually playing these games? According to an Australian research by Taylor Hardwick, Marcus Carter, Stephanie Harkin, Tiani Shangshao, and Ben Eggleston from the University of Sydney and RMIT University, they interviewed 22 children who were between 7 and 14 years old. They gave the children $20 Australian debit cards to spend on whatever they wanted. While 3 of them spent on non-digital items like a bicycle part, a toy and candy, 12 of them spent their money on Roblox. Child number 7, who used his money on Pet Simulator 99X, described this as being literally just child gambling. The game's not fun, it's more just a massive cash grab. Child number 10 complained that the VIP Game Pass in Royal High being a scam. The child explained that after 30 days, you have to buy the VIP pass again to keep it. These interviews revealed a pattern. Children weren't upset about losing money. They were upset about being misled. Whether it was overpriced in-game items, chance-based eggs with impossibly low odds, or currencies designed to confuse, the harm came from deception. Many didn't fully understand probabilities or the value of Robux. The researchers concluded that monetization becomes harmful when it is misleading or deceptive about what you're actually buying. For kids, the result isn't just wasted money, it's feeling tricked by a system built to extract as much as possible from their excitement. Their recommendation: remove monetized randomly reward mechanics from those games entirely. Give refunds, protect kids' purchases, and make in-game currencies transparent. Until that happens, loot boxes in games like Pet Simulator 99 will remain less about fun, and more about finding new ways to turn play into profit. While people pointed out that many Roblox games have a loot box system that made the games pay to win, the loot box feature still was added to more games. But why is it like that when loot boxes have become a controversy?
I don't think any of them cares, because it brings them money and most of the developers are extremely money hungry. But I wouldn't say that making money is a bad thing. It's just that's all they care about, and Roblox just gets filled with cash grab games, and then Roblox gets boring for a lot of players because those games made in 1 week are the only games they keep releasing for quick money.
While the criticism kept coming up from the media and players, it didn't slow down the trend. Instead, a lot of new Roblox games kept adding the loot box mechanics. Some were made fair for all players, while others were made as pay to win. But that was about to change somewhere in Europe.
Loot boxes have become a major controversy in the gaming sphere, earning...
Get ready to take notes because kids playing Roblox have been gambling millions.
Millions?
This is a kid's game, and Roblox doesn't seem like they're doing anything.
The update in question involves the introduction of crates, which is also known as loot boxes.
Loot boxes had been called many things: addictive, deceptive, and even child gambling. But in Belgium, they were about to be called something else: illegal. In November of 2017, Belgium's Gaming Commission launched an investigation against loot boxes after Battlefront 2's launch sparked a mass controversy on loot boxes. The Justice Minister Koonjins made an announcement and declared that loot boxes are a form of gambling and sparked calls to ban that form of monetization in the country. If the ban went through, many games would be affected: FIFA, Overwatch, and even numerous Roblox games. Some could face complete removal from the Belgian market. On April 26, 2018, loot boxes were declared illegal in Belgium. According to BBC, games that didn't remove the ability to buy boxes with real money may lead to a fine of 800,000 euros and up to 5 years in prison for the publishers. This also means that Roblox games that use loot boxes could be in big trouble. Meanwhile, in the Netherlands, they also declared certain loot boxes as gambling. In a report by the Netherlands Gaming Authority called Study into Loot Boxes, a Treasure or a Burden, they evaluated 10 popular games, where 4 of them violated gambling regulations because their loot box content could be transferred and held real-world monetary value. They had 8 weeks to fix the systems or face penalties. 4 years later, Dreamcraft, which is now called Uplift Games, shut down Adopt Me in Belgium and the Netherlands due to the law. Soon, more games were affected by the Belgian and Dutch law. Some of them are Murder Mystery 2, Gods of Glory, and Flee the Facility. Checking their game pages, players were met with a simple message on the join button saying the experience is unavailable in your region to comply with regulations. Roblox developers were hit especially hard. For many small studios, loot boxes weren't just a feature, they were their main source of income. Losing the Belgian market meant losing a steady stream of microtransaction revenue. Uplift Games shut down of Adopt Me in Belgium and the Netherlands impacted the studio pretty little, while smaller games were impacted pretty hard, especially if their main player base is Dutch. However, Adopt Me later came back to the Netherlands after changing the servers in that region, so the gifts and all the boxes are just predetermined, so it doesn't count as gambling by law. On March 9, 2022, the Netherlands declared that loot boxes were no longer considered gambling. This followed the overturning of a FIFA fine, as Dutch authorities determined that FIFA loot boxes were not separate game of chance under gambling law. Because of this, the ban lost much of its legal force, which led to loot boxes no longer being treated as outright illegal in the country. Since then, all those Roblox games that were banned in the Netherlands because of their loot box mechanics are now available to play for all Dutch players. In total, 6 countries has regulated loot boxes, including China, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, Singapore, and Australia. In Australia, players will no longer be able to access paid random items on Roblox as of September 20, 2024. One of many games that got affected by the update is Arsenal, where the developers had to remove crates from that region. While a lot of developers had the games affected by the loot box ban in Belgium and regulated in those other countries, a new type of trend of gambling will rise on Roblox, thanks to the loot box mechanics. RNG, which stands for Random Number Generator, is a new type of genre of games that has appeared on Roblox. An RNG Roblox game has only one goal, and that is roll the dice. While the trend is pretty new, the RNG-style games have existed since 1974, when Dungeons & Dragons came out. However, the trend of RNG simulator games didn't take off until the end of 2023, when a game called Souls RNG came out. The purpose of the game is to roll and you will get an aura. There are a different variety of auras you can get, which can be from common and uncommon to natural and rare. Then those that are extremely rare like Comet, Celestial and Exotic Apex have a chance of 1 in 120,000, 1 in 350,000, and 1 in 49,999,500. If you get some of those rare auras, you will get a cutscene to show how powerful they are. Then you can also complete quests to automatically store your new auras in your aura inventory, and also give you better luck to unlock better auras. That's pretty much it. You roll and you get an aura. Thanks to the RNG genre, it was a massive success for Souls RNG, gaining 1.3 billion visits and over 1 million likes in a span of 1 year and 8 months. In a day, the game got at most 8.5 million new players. What also makes this game interesting is its way of keeping players engaged in the game.
Well, their secret tactic is not really a secret. It's basically just, if the game's trending, for example, in Souls RNG, I'm pretty sure you could get like auras or whatever, and kids would just leave their device or laptop AFK running the game at home while they go to school or while they go to sleep. It gives a lot of playtime to the game's analytics.
This has the same effect as adults when playing slot machines or any other casino game. You roll something and you expect that the next time you pay and roll, you will hit the jackpot. However, in this situation, it's all about clicking on roll to get an aura. After the success of Souls RNG, many developers saw how successful the game was and decided to release their own version of an RNG simulator. Finding Shamix, RNG Battles, Haze RNG, and even Toilet Defense RNG. However, after I made a poll on my channel to see what people think of RNG games, a lot of them do not like those RNG simulators. So why is it like that? Why do so many people hate those types of games? The RNG mechanics don't even require in-game cash or Robux to play. All you do is click on a dice.
Because those games are based on luck, you have to get lucky to get something really good, and it just takes days, maybe even weeks of AFKing, and you can still end up getting nothing, and people hate that.
It's very boring. All you do is click. There's no gameplay. The whole gameplay is about clicking, getting stuff, clicking, getting stuff. I do not like that. I hate it.
Even though there is a massive debate about the RNG simulators with a lot of people showing their dissatisfaction, the trend is simply unstoppable. Once the developer knows the code to create their own spin to an RNG simulator, they can easily create one in a day. Add a lot of free models or create your own ones to your game, and you have created an RNG simulator. On September 28, 2024, Big Games, who is behind Pet Simulator X and Pet Simulator 99, released a trailer for their take on an RNG game called Pet RNG. According to them, the game lets players spin a dice which gives them a random pet, which can be a common one or an exceedingly rare pet. According to the comments of the trailer, they describe it as no other than a gambling game. The game will later be released on October 11th with a new name. This time it's called Pets Go. When looking further into the game lets players roll a die. Rolling it gives you a random reward, just like loot boxes. You could be a turtle, which is 1 in 110, a bobcat, which is 1 in 999, or a hot dog, which is 1 in 65,000. In the game you can also upgrade by adding auto roll, hide rolls, or be luckier to get a better pet. If you use the auto roll, you can just sit back while you gather more pets. With this feature, you can simply turn your game into an AFK grinding game. Sometimes you can get a special dice. It can be from a golden dice to the blazing dice. Those ones gives you a better chance of getting a rare pet. Not only can you get pets from rolling a dice, you can also get a pet from an aura egg. And that's what you do in this game. You roll a dice and you get a pet. So after the RNG simulators have gotten a lot of backlash for simply being a gambling simulator, is Roblox doing anything against it? Well, no, the opposite. It's July 2nd, 2025. Roblox has just released their first egg count in 5 years, called The Hatch. Not only was this going to be the first official egg count in 5 years, but also the biggest one ever, with 1,000 games in the event. However, after facing controversy for inviting a developer that has done games that are not child-friendly, the event had less than 400 games to explore. What makes this event different from the other egg counts is that this one is an RNG-based event. It means that the eggs you collected that were randomly generated by AI have a different variety. Basically, all eggs are random for all players when you collect them. Once you have enough common eggs in your collection, you can merge them in a hub to get a rare egg. Once you have all eggs in one category, you'll unlock a UGC accessory for your avatar. The event got a lot of backlash, making the Hatch the worst rated Roblox event ever, gathering over 341,000 dislikes. The majority of the dislikes are because of the event's RNG mechanics. With the hate against Stoltz RNG and the Hatch, proves that RNG games are not famous, but infamous. And because of its reputation of being simply gambling for children, it has turned into a controversy, even worse than loot boxes. And because of its reputation of being simply gambling for children, it has turned into a controversy. However, this doesn't stop developers from creating their RNG games, because those types of games are very popular among kids. If you take a look at the popular page, games like Case Rolling RNG, and Mount RNG can be found there. Even Salt's RNG can still be found there today, having around 37,000 concurrent players. Predicting the future of loot boxes is difficult. They were banned in Belgium, outlawed and later unbanned in the Netherlands, and are now under investigation in other countries. Their legal status shifts constantly depending on where you look. If you head to the popular games page on Roblox today, it won't take long until you find a game with a loot box system. In fact, according to a Statista report of 10 of the most played Roblox games as of July 2025, 60% of them in this list have a loot box system. Some of them are Adopt Me, Grow Garden, and Murder Mystery 2. But even if loot boxes vanish tomorrow, their influence will remain. On Roblox, the rise of RNG games shows how easily these mechanics adapt. Instead of paying money for a role, players simply press a button and wait for a random outcome. The hype is the same, the rarity is still celebrated, and the endless chase to hit the jackpot continues, without ever being called a loot box. From secret cards to digital crates, the evolution of the loot box mechanics has spanned 150 years. What form they take next is impossible to know. What we can say is that the debate isn't finished. The European Union has urged authorities to protect children from harmful game practices, including pressure to buy virtual currency. And with the UK Online Safety Act, who knows if it will one day expand to cover loot boxes. For now, it focuses on protecting children from self-harm and adult content. Ikenya believes it's inevitable.
I think the developers will always find new ways of adding loot boxes, and they'll always get smarter and smarter with loot box ideas. So I think it'll just be evolving all the time.
And Icy sums it up simply.
I think they would probably just continue. Trust me, it would not fade away. So it would probably be even worse.
If more nations follow Belgium's example and the pressure keeps building, this could mark the end of Roblox loot boxes.